the MLB Gambling Podcast. The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am in Newcastle upon Tyne on the northeast coast of England. Today is Tuesday, September the 27th. And I am here with a couple of co-hosts who have already tried booby trapping the show less than a minute in to handicap the MLB action for Wednesday, September the 28th. And the primary booby trapper I will introduce first. Noah Bennick, why are you planting landmines all over the place, digging holes for me to fall in already? We're not even 90 seconds into the show.
Well, I get the pleasure of pressing the We Go Live button, and
yes.
I accidentally did not click the timer so people could jump in live, and then we start instead of starting, and then people jump in 2 minutes after we've already started. So, yeah, that's what happened, Malcolm. But honestly, 4-game slate treated me well last night. So happy with how we went. Unfortunately, we can't really talk about any of our Tuesday picks from yesterday's podcast because we're recording this before all of them go, but I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, no day baseball at all. I will forgive you stymieing me early on because we'll have to behave ourselves, Noah, because our other co-host tonight is Papa Moonaf, who always gets really exasperated with our childish antics. Moonaf, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How do you follow up with that? I don't know. 4-game slate yesterday. It turned out to be pretty good for 3 out of the 4 guys. Not going to mention any other names, but we got a full schedule for the Wednesday game, so ready to get into it.
At least I got my losers out the way early. There's not. I mean, I didn't lose in the bottom of the 9th inning or any hard break last. I lost all my picks within about 90 seconds of the game starting, so that meant I could get some sleep without having to sweat anything.
You look at that graphic, and it was just 5. There's 4 of us, but there was 5 logos of the Oriole bird, I believe, because Moonaf had them 2 different ways, and then Malcolm.
Well, every time I did pick a winner a couple of weeks ago, you kept not putting the graphic up. Or changing them. That was another one of your famous tricks as well, Moonaf. Do you remember that? Yeah? Changing my picks without my consent. It's a shambles. Anyway, as luck would have it, I've got at least 23 winners on tomorrow's card here. So in the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to give you all of them. As per usual, we're going to stick to the main games on the slate. I reckon that's 8. We'll have a look in the bottom draw as well. Noah's been particularly sharp with his bottom draw pick, so we'll have a little look around. We'll plumb the depths of. There's a couple of bum fights tomorrow, might be worth a look at as well. But we're going to stick to the main games that have either got 1 or 2 teams who are still in playoff contention, and we will start with no, not the day game. We'll go to a 6:10 Eastern first pitch between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians, where Tyler Glasnow will be on debut this season for the Tampa Bay Rays. Good to see him back. And Tristan McKenzie draws the start for the Cleveland Guardians. The lines are Cleveland Guardians -120, Tampa Bay a +102, and the total here is set at 7. Glasnow, I've got a big question mark next to his name. Moonaf, you can tell us what we expect.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he maybe goes 1 inning, 2 innings at most for the Rays. I think the primary pitcher, what I saw, was going to be a gentleman by the name of Garrett Clevenger for the Tampa Bay Rays. So I'm guessing he's going to do bulk pitching for the bulk of the innings after Glasnow starts the game. So he's a guy that is coming up out of the AAA Durham for the Tampa Bay Rays. Looks like a relief pitcher because he hasn't really gotten many innings under his belt for the Tampa Bay Rays. So I'm assuming he goes another 2-3 innings for this Tampa Bay ball club. So not much for me there. We'll see how Tyler Glasnow looks after coming back after the injury that he did suffer last season. But on the flip side, for the Cleveland Guardians, it is going to be Tristan McKenzie. Despite having an 11-11 record so far this year, he does have a 3.04 ERA, 180 strike. Cleveland Guardians here. Over his last 5 games, he's been really solid, 2-1 with a 2.48 ERA. At home this season, 5-3 with a 2.94 ERA. The Guardians have won 4 of his last 5 starts, including 4 straight, which have all been against divisional opponents. And they've gotten the run support for him as well. They've scored at least 6 runs in 3 out of his last 4 starts for the Guardians. And he's also getting the strikeouts as well. Hasn't faced the Rays so far this season. And I don't think he's faced, or he did face them once last year in 6 innings. He only allowed 2 earned runs to the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa Bay. Guardians did win that game 3-2. It seems like there is some money coming in on the Rays here, but I'm going to stick with my guy, Tristan McKenzie, in this game. I think he's just in good form right now. The Cleveland Bats are hot. They're on a winning streak. Despite them locking up the division already, I still think they're going to go out there and play hard. So at a -120 price, I'll stay with Tristan McKenzie and the Cleveland Guardians in this game.
Yeah, you're right. There's been a little bit of movement. I handicapped this earlier this afternoon and had Cleveland at -130. So they've drifted slightly as Tampa Bay have hardened up a little bit. Myself and Noah talked about Cleveland last night and the kind of team that they are. With this game, we often say that we'd like to see how the first game of a series pans out before we can handicap the rest of the series. And I think this is a prime example because it's kind of party time tonight for Cleveland, the Tuesday night game. That's going to be their first game back at home since they clinched. But like you've just said, Munaf, me and Noah thought that Cleveland were the kind of team who need to keep playing hard. They don't look like the kind of team who want to. They haven't got the luxury of resting a few players, and I don't really think they need to. I think they're going to benefit from playing hard, and it's so close to the end of the season as well. It's not kind of like the Dodgers or the Astros have had it wrapped up so early. So I think Cleveland will just keep shoving them. I would like to see how they go tonight, and particularly how Tampa Bay go. We both took Cleveland to win the Tuesday night game, which starts in about an hour from when we're recording. For this Wednesday one, I'm just rolling with Cleveland. If it's not broke, don't fix it. McKenzie and Cleveland have been on my side for a few weeks now. It served me really well in that time. So Cleveland at -120 for me, Noah.
Yeah, I'm tailing Cleveland here as well. And I think one main thing about it is, like Munaf mentioned, Glasnow is only going to go 2 or 3 innings. And the best part about that is the books are slapping Glasnow's name right under the money line there, and people are going to jump on that. So I really like how, the price is moving as we speak. I think this one could even get tighter as first pitch goes, but I like Cleveland the whole way.
That is a really good observation, actually, because unless you knew, even if you knew he'd been injured, you'd still assume that you might get maybe 4 innings out of him.
Yeah.
And as Moon with handicaps it, Moonaf reckons 1. You've said maybe 1 or 2. But
I'm a big Glasnow guy. I want to back him, but you can't do it in his first start off the IL here. They're gonna build him up for the postseason, is what they're gonna do.
No, I think that's a really shrewd observation, Noah, and it makes me like Cleveland even better just at that price. So yeah, we'll team ride on Cleveland there in the first game. 7. No, I've done it. I said it, Moonaf. Sorry.
Yeah. He did.
Just want to add one more note about Glasnow. He's going to be limited to 45 pitches.
45 pitches?
Yeah, 45 pitches is what I'm seeing.
3 innings, 4 innings, max.
We're not frustrated with the dancing tonight. We didn't have to encourage him. We really had to coax it out of him last week, but he's gone straight in tonight. He must be in a better mood. 7:05, he said, no, we need to try harder to antagonise him. That's what we need to do. 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The Atlanta Braves at the Washington Nationals. Jake Odorizzi for the Braves and Jojo Gray will go for the Washington Nationals. Lines are Atlanta -220, Washington a +185, The total here is set at 8.5. Odorizzi for the Braves, 5-6 on the season, 4.61 ERA, 97 2/3, 79 strikeouts. And Gray is 7-10, 5.17 ERA, 142 2/3 with 152 strikeouts. Odorizzi, really inconsistent. He gave up 8 earned runs last time against Philly. He's been shaky on the road as well all season. Probably the least trustworthy of this Braves rotation. He goes up against Josiah Gray. Josiah Gray's arm looks ready to fall off. I think I've laboured the point for the last month. I know he's only pitched 142. Well, do you say only 142 innings? I mean, is that a big number or a small number, depending on modern baseball? But sorry?
Big number.
I think it's a big number as well. I mean, the old timers will tell you because he hasn't pitched 230 innings. He hasn't tried. But he's a young guy as well. And you come off, even if it was 2 years ago, the 60-game season. And he's looked, I mean, it couldn't be more obvious that he looks ready for a break. He's given up 4.44 and 6 in his last 4 starts, 7.03 ERA in his last 5. Neither side appeals here as a money line or run line, just because I don't trust Odorizzi particularly. The Washington lineup that they're trotting out the minute is very much a minor league lineup. We kind of joked earlier in the season that Oakland were trotting out a AAA lineup. Washington are doing similar now. The angle I got here was the Atlanta team total. You might be able to steer me, Munaf, in the right direction here. With the total game total set at 8.5. Atlanta minus 220 favourites. Atlanta game total, yeah, 4.5, 5, something like that.
You probably get a 5 if your book offers those flat numbers. I know a lot of them give you they put the hook on it at 5.5, but I think you may be able to get a 4.5 if you get the opener. But Josiah Gray at home this season, 2-7 with a 6.57 ERA. He's actually had a pretty good start against the Braves, but this was all the way back in April where, like you mentioned, he didn't have very many innings at that point. I think it was only his second start of the season. But, I mean, you said the numbers there. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 4 straight starts to the opposition. 4 of his last 5 starts have been on the road. And we talked about, Josiah Gray, that at home he just hasn't been that same pitcher. He's 2-7, like I mentioned. And then against NL East opponents, a 5.54 ERA. And again, these are going to be games that the Braves just don't want to drop, right? Because they're only 1 game back in that NL East division. Now you're going up against one of the worst teams, not only in their division, but in probably the entire National League. So I'm not sure, like you mentioned there, Malcolm, I don't want to put my money behind Jake Odorizzi either. So I think that either you take a look at a full game over at 8.5, or like you mentioned, taking the Braves team total in this game as well.
It's a shame because we like Josiah Gray as well. We said a lot of good things about him earlier in the season. I'm not putting this run of form at his feet at all, really. I think that a couple of the Braves bats look like they'd livened up. We talked about how much Matt Olson was struggling last week, mainly on my fantasy team, and he squared a couple of balls up last night, got a few RBI, so maybe he's about to come good again with the playoffs looming. So, Noah, what was your perspective on this one?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add more analysis to your thing about maybe his arm literally falling off. Most times when you're building up a young pitcher like he is, he's in the second year of MLB. His first year, he had 70.2 innings, 1,200 pitches. And in 2022, he's doubled his inning count with 142.2 and doubled his pitch count up to 2,500. So that's normally not how you want to build up a young pitcher. You normally want to add like 20, 30 innings each year, which usually equates to about 600, 800 pitches and whatnot. So I really I'm nervous about the way that they're building up because, yes, we do like Josiah Gray. So that immediately brings my handicap to favoring the Braves side of things. Now, I don't want to jump behind Odorizzi like you mentioned. I think the team total is a perfect play, Malcolm.
Oh, my. Compliments. Our lines tonight are coming from our headline sponsor here, WinBet. The perfect time for you to join is right now. You bet $100 as a new customer. You'll get a $100 free bet. The casino's open 24/7. 100% deposit there up to $1,000. WinBet is live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. Plus, WinBet have the same game parlay feature. Loads to choose from. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. So they know that we sent you. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present at the state where playthrough WinBet's available. If you are someone who knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Zutalo un kilo de tomates ue la bibliothèque. If you're like me, and that is the limit of your foreign language, Babbel is the app that you want. Babbel is a language learning app, sold over 10 million subscriptions, and loads of different and fun ways to get those language lessons that you want, whether you're going traveling, you want to talk to the fella down the local shop, anything like that. 10 minutes to complete a lesson. You can learn a new language in as little as 3 weeks. They have things like podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. And you get a 20-day money-back guarantee. So start your new language journey today with Babbel. Get up to 50% off your description and your subscription. I can't even speak English, let alone a foreign language. Go to babbel.com/SGP. Babbel.com/SGP for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel is language for life. Très bien to that. Next is I don't want to forget the Mets. No, they're not yet. 7:07 Eastern. First pitch between the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. Gerrit Cole for the Yankees and Mitch White is the pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. Lines are New York -130, Toronto +110. Total here is set at 7.5. And this is back to you, Munaf.
Yeah, Gerrit Cole, 12-7 on the season with a 3.49 ERA, 244 strikeouts. Only 49 walks. On the road this season, 7-2 with a 3.83 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he is 2-1 with a 4.40 ERA. Gerrit Cole has struggled over his last 3 starts. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in every single start. Over his last 3 starts, what I'm trying to say. He's at least allowed 2 home runs in 3 straight starts as well, which was against the Red Sox, the Brewers, and the Red Sox again. And we've seen 4 of his last 5 starts have had at least 8 or more runs being scored in those games. Mitch White for the Blue Jays has just been struggling ever since the trade deadline. Post All-Star break, his numbers are 0-4 with a 6.02 ERA on the season, 1-6 with a 5.12 ERA over his last 5 games, 0-3 with a 9.82 ERA. So not been very good for him, and the Blue Jays have lost all of his last 5 starts when he has started in those games. He's allowed at least 3 earned runs in 5 straight starts. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 3 out of the last 5 starts. So I think this might be a game where the Yankees bats are going to be able to get to him. I'm very surprised that they are starting him in this game. We did see the Blue Jays get the extra innings victory on Monday night. So, they're still right there in that wild card race. They should be, locking that up here fairly soon. I thought this total was a little conservative here at 7.5. I think that the Blue Jays can get to Gerrit Cole for a couple runs, and I think that the Yankees are going to be able to tag Mitch White here the Yankees are going to be able to get to Mitch White as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Judge is able to get that, 61st or 62nd home run off of Mitch White if he doesn't get it done on Tuesday night. So I like the over 7.5 in this game here, Malcolm.
Okay, so runs for Munaf. Noah, what you got?
Yeah, stemming off of Munaf's last statement, I sent it in the Discord channel today. I'm calling the shot that Judge hits 61 on Tuesday night. And the way that Judge has been going, he's streaky. So, if he gets 1, he starts hitting again. He's been in a week-long slump. So, Mitch White is not a type of caliber pitcher that would scare me away from this Yankees lineup and or Judge. So, he hit 61 on Tuesday. I've heard that they might contemplate sitting him at Toronto. That way he can try to hit it at home. Not quite sure if that's going to bode well with the fans, but I'm sure the fans would love to see it at home too. So either way, I'm going to be on the Yankees money line and the over here as well.
I take a lot of my Blue Jays opinions from listening to a friend of the show, Johnny Junter, on Twitter. And I'm not sure that's really wise because he is the absolute king of the knee-jerk reaction. Wild overstatements at all times. I think he claimed last week that Mitch White was the worst pitcher ever to have pitched in MLB.
He's been saying it the whole month of August and September.
Yeah, ever since he got traded there.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've written down useless, which is probably a little bit harsh as well. But actually, Garrett Cole at -130 against a poor pitcher, I just think it's too good to be true. I think you can try and dress this up all you want. You can take the overs. You can look at different ways, but sometimes it's just staring you in the face. And I think on Thursday morning we could be thinking, oh, actually, -130 was like finding money in the street on Garrett Cole against Mitch White. So that's going to be where I'll stick with my money there on the Yankees. Next is the top of the page in the New York Mets. They are at home to the Miami Marlins, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Left-hander Jesus Luzardo for Miami. And Taijuan Walker for the New York Mets. The Marlins are +165. The New York Mets are -198. The total here is 7. And this one is... Who's got this game? Is this you, Moonaf, as well?
It's Noah.
It's me.
Go on, Noah.
The Mets, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Miami, the exact opposite, 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they're 1-5 in their last 6 against the Mets. Starting for Miami is Jesus Luzardo, who's 3-7 with a 3.57 ERA, 102 strikeouts, 32 walks, and 88.1 innings pitched. 3 starts ago, he faced this Mets team and got tagged for 5 runs in 3.1 innings. He gave up 3 free passes with 3 strikeouts. And for me, you take that out, that one start out against the Mets, and he had an ERA of 2.60 in his last 6 starts. Now, I am a little bit throwing it back here because I think one of my stats is wrong on Taijuan Walker. Walker is 12-5 on the year with a 3.53 ERA, 114 strikeouts, 43 walks, and 148 innings pitched. He's been going iffy as of late. His last start, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, had 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, just like Luzardo against the Mets here. He did start against Miami as well, against Luzardo. He went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, only 1 run with 10 strikeouts. So bring that back into reality to today. I'm conflicted because Luzardo is one of my guys. My head tells me that the Mets run line is probably the better side to be taken here in this matchup, as they've already bashed Luzardo once and Walker pitched pretty well. But my gut tells me to just go with Luzardo because he had one little bump in the road and it was against this Mets team. Now, in his last start, he had 11 strikeouts with 6 innings. And the Mets this year have an OPS of 30 points less against lefties than righties. But after Munaf helped me out with the cap here, giving me out, the Mets have a WRC plus number against lefties that ranks 4th over the last 2 weeks and over the last month. I'm just going to stay away from the side altogether and lean Marlins first 5 as the underdog.
Okay, so a bit of a dog play for Noah. Munaf?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things here that kind of stick out to me when we talk about Taijuan Walker, right? Number one, it's that I want him at home where he is at Citi Field in this start. And then his resume this season or his stats this season against the Marlins is what's really sticking out to me, where he is 4-0 with a 2.23 ERA, right? 35 strikeouts in 5 appearances. Is going to be a 6-start already. I kind of went back and looked right now in those 5 starts that he's already faced against the Marlins have not scored more than 3 runs in any of those starts by, when Taijuan Walker has been in this game. I do trust the bullpen as well for the Mets here. And, Noah talked about how the OPS is down for the New York Mets against left-handed pitching, but that WRC plus has been pretty consistent for them. Not only season long where they ranked 11th, but they're also number 4, like Noah mentioned there, over the last 2 weeks and over the last 30 days as well. So again, we talked about it with the Braves. These are games that you're playing against the worst teams in the division where you want to rack up these wins. And I'm going to trust Taijuan Walker at home where he is 5-1 with a 3.50 ERA against NL East teams this season. 6-1. Obviously, 4 of those wins did come against the Marlins. So I think that success continues for him here. I'm going to go with the Marlins run line and the Mets run line in this game at plus money, -1.5, plus 120 for me on the New York Mets. And if you're able to find that team total in this game as well, I think that they can at least get 4 to 5 runs. Can the Mets off of Jesus Luzardo? I'm currently seeing it at 3.5 at -145 on one book. Maybe if you're able to find a 4 and pay a little bit of less juice, I like that as well. But yeah, Mets run line for me.
I came down on runs here, but again, I handicapped this 4 or 5 hours ago, and the total was at 6.5. Now, I've got the words too skinny written next to that total, and sure enough, the books have adjusted and gone to a total of 7. No, I used the keyword iffy when talking about Luzardo and Walker, and I very much factored that into my handicap. 6 of the New York Mets' last 7 games have gone over this number. You'd have only lost twice in the last 7 games on Miami, although there's quite a few pushes in there. We laugh a lot about whenever you say Miami, the total is 7. It's always 7. Doesn't matter who they're playing, who's on the mound. Home, away, total of 7. So, yeah, to me, this looks like 7 and a push, maybe. But I kind of agree with Moonaf that they could get 4 or 5 runs here. And then hopefully Miami can chip in as well and get this over the total of 7. So I'll take over 7. But I'm expecting to get my money back on the push. If you can find a 6.5, fill your boots on that one. Next up is a 7:40 Eastern first pitch between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. Aaron Nola is the starter for the Phillies, and Hayden Wesneski starts for the Chicago Cubs. I only got money lines at the minute, usual Wrigley Field shenanigans here with the Cubs. Philadelphia are -185. The Cubs are +156. I could do with Dylan here, actually. We could do some Rockford lines on this one, although I'll get a weather report off Moonaf in a minute as well. Aaron Nola is 10-12 on the year, has a 3.28 ERA, has pitched 192 in the 3rd innings, 218 punches for him. Wesneski, 2-1, 2.45 ERA, 22 innings and 24 strikeouts. Nola's been fine, absolutely great. He's got a horror start against Arizona in his recent game log, but his last 2 starts have been against Atlanta. And a little bit inconsistent. He's got a 4 earned run start and a 0 earned run start. I suppose Atlanta can't do that to anybody. He's been better on the road this season generally, and Philadelphia is still grafting to lock up that final wildcard spot. We discussed that on the show last night, myself and Noah. 302 on the road, and he's got a 146 ERA against NL Central opposition this season. That's a sample size of 37, so he's had quite a few starts against teams in this division. Hayden Wesneski has been on my radar. We talked about him a little bit because I streamed him in that fantasy final disaster last week. And actually, Wesneski pitched really, really well. He's got loads of potential. He's a well thought of prospect. Strikes batters out. And he's played well so far. Philadelphia haven't seen him. It's going to be one of those situations that me and Moonaf did well on last season, these rookie pitchers in September. I actually think the reason I wanted to know what Dylan's Rockford lines are here was because I like the total. I think obviously the Cubs are horrible at home, and Nola's going they could keep the score down there. But I think Wesneski could keep the Phillies in check here. So the 2 options I've got were either Chicago on the run line. They're +156 on the money line, so there'll be a little bit of odds on the run line, or I'll take an under on the total as long as the weather's not silly, depending on what that total might be. So, Moonaf, do you have any reads on the weather and therefore the total in this one?
Currently seeing winds are going to be blowing in at around 10 to 11 miles per hour, but that's definitely something you want to check for sure in the morning, but that's what's forecasted right now. So that obviously helps. Yeah, obviously helps your under, but it's crazy to see that Aaron Nola's game logs. And again, I mean, this kind of dates back to 2015. So, I mean, there's a lot of roster turnover and things like that, but he's faced this Cubs team 6 times. He's 4-1, but the ERA is high at 4.54. So, and I think I've seen all 6 of those games have scored 9 or more runs, where I've seen games finish with 16 runs, 25 runs, and things like that. But obviously, for the Cubs, this is a completely different lineup as well. And obviously, with that wind blowing in, there's no way I want to touch that total unless you're betting the under in this game. But I would lean with the Phillies here. Again, like you mentioned, they're in that wild card race. Those are the teams that we want to back right now. So I'll probably go with the under with the wind projected of blowing in at 10 or 11 miles per hour, and then the Phillies run line here with some plus money odds.
I mean, the first 5 under might be another option as well. If you like me, if you think Wesneski can go well, and you're assuming Nola does similar. Noah, you're the rookie pitcher guy, and I think we talked a little bit of Wesneski last week, and he pitched well.
Yeah, he did, and you profited, or not really profited, but you improved because you streamed him. And Wisniewski is a guy that, I mean, looks like he has what it takes to be a good pro, and this lineup doesn't quite look like a winning lineup, and a lineup that's going to put up some runs. So I like the under. We mentioned the wind. The under is hit in Cubs games 12 of their last 17. So again, I really like this underplay. Are we all on it?
Yeah, you want to dance, don't you?
Sure, yeah, go for it. Doing a dance.
Boo Moonaf didn't dance that time.
I was putting in a bet, sorry.
That's not acceptable. Okay, he was gambling. Real men of DJing. There's been loads of decent chat in the Discord about No House Advantage. One of our new sponsors here. There's been people talking up how fun this product is, and that you get some decent overlays as well. Let me tell you about them. The most dynamic fantasy platform changing the game. You can play in pick'em contests versus other people, shot at winning over $250,000 in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, and climb the leaderboard to win that big money every day. Test your skills against the house as well. All the major sports are on there. No House Advantage is daily fantasy sports redefined. It's not just how you play, but also where you play. If you sign up now with the promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app, you'll get a first deposit match up to $25. Promoguide.us too. That's the place to go if you're interested in plus EV betting strategies. We'll update you daily on the cash bonuses from the major sportsbooks and loads of odds boosts. Any offers, promoguide.us will keep you abreast of everything that you need to know to make the most out of your money. It's a small team, a passionate sports fans, no algorithms. You're getting a personal service here. Promoguide.us. Check out the 100% track, transparent, and proven method for betting smarter. Make sure you check out promoguide.us. And finally, Odds Trader, a place to compare odds from all the different sportsbooks, and then also the different sign-up codes and promos. Once you're in, you're getting things like player stats, key game stats, injury reports, game day weather, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the all-important bet tracker, so you know whether you're coming or going. All of this can be found at oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. OddsTrader is the #1 site for all of your game day bets. Next is a 7:40 Eastern first pitch, probably the game of the day. Certainly the game with the most relying on it is the St. Louis Cardinals at the Milwaukee Brewers, where Jose Quintana, left-handed pitcher, will go for the Cards. And Brandon Woodruff goes for the Brew Crew. The Cards here are road underdogs, plus 120. The Brewers minus 140. Total here is set at 7. Quintana, 6-6 on the year, 3.03 ERA, 157 and 2/3 pitched, 130 strikeouts. Woodruff has a record of 12-4, 3.18 ERA, 141 and 1/3 with 173 Ks. Quintana is absolutely dealing recently. One of my favourite stories of the season. 120 ERA in his last 5 starts. Hasn't been good on the road, generally speaking. He's got a 4.13 ERA. But even recently, his road form has been outstanding as well. That's coming down. His last start was an indication really of where he's got to this season. 6 2/3 scoreless at the LA Dodgers. And he's just not walking anyone either. His control, his command's been absolutely outstanding. Brandon Woodruff, 2.76 ERA in his last 5. He was ticking boxes everywhere when I was handicapping this. 2.16 home ERA. 2 dead ERA against St. Louis in 2 games started this season. Woodruff has had a run of really soft opposition. That's not really his fault particularly. And the St. Louis bats have been quite quiet, actually. It's been noted as well. Everything pointed towards an under here. either a first 5 under, or I'm happy to take a full game under because both pens are relatively reliable as well. So the number's quite low at 7, but I just think this has got pitch and duel written all over it, Munaf. Under 7 for me.
Yeah, I was looking at Brandon Woodruff's numbers here, and on the season at home, he's 7-0 with a 2.16 ERA. Like you mentioned there, 6-3 against his Central Division, 3.74 ERA. Last 5 games, pretty solid. Did have he faced the Yankees where he had a really good outing against them at home, 8 innings. He only allowed 1 earned run. He's had at least 10 or more strikeouts in 3 straight games here. That's surprising to see as well for Brandon Woodruff. Again, like you mentioned, has been against weaker opposition. But yeah, I agree with you, Malcolm. I think this is a game where we see an under. Jose Quintana 3-1 since he's joined the Cardinals with a 2.14 ERA. Last 5 games, he's 2-0 with a 1.20 ERA. And I think that runs have been at a premium in his starts. I know his last game against the Dodgers, the Cardinals won that game 11-0. But prior to that, 1-0, 4-3, 4-1, 5-3. I know that's 1 run over the number of 7, but I think this is going to be a good pitching duel here between these 2 squads. And quickly just look at the WRC plus numbers for the Milwaukee Brewers against left-handed pitching. They are number 11, which I think that gives them an advantage here. It's only been 75 plate appearances, but I like the under in this game. I'm going to side with the Milwaukee Brewers in this game as well.
Noah?
I'm going to side with the under as well, guys. But for me, I personally lean the Cardinals instead of the Brewers. What Malcolm said about Woodruff's recent competition really strikes me. And this is a Brewers lineup that struggles against left-handed pitching. Quintana is a guy that over his last 6 starts has a 1.81 ERA, and he's faced very good competition on the other hand with games against the Dodgers and the Braves in there. 4 other games that are just kind of throw him out of the ballpark. But a shutout against the Dodgers and a 2-run outing against the Braves is good enough for me to back Quintana and the Cardinals here and the under, like we've already said. So not much for me to add, actually.
Okay, 9:40 Eastern first pitch is another premium matchup here. The LA Dodgers at the San Diego Padres. Julio Urias, left-handed pitcher, is on the hill for the Dodgers. And for the San Diego Padres, it will be Joe Musgrove. Dodgers -140, San Diego +120 total. It's 7.5, and Noah is going to break it down.
Yeah, so the Padres are 7-2 in their last 9 games, but the Dodgers, they're 12-4 in their last 16 and 16-4 in their last 20 games against the Padres. The Dodgers are starting Julio Urias here. He's 17-7 with a 2.25 ERA, 157 strikeouts, 38 walks, and 164 innings pitched. He's gone 12 straight starts, giving up 2 runs or less, and he has faced the Padres 3 times this season to a 1.96 ERA tune. He actually finished this season as starting pitcher number 5 in fantasy baseball this year. Thought that was actually a really interesting fact. And then Joe Musgrove for the Padres will get the ball. He's 10-7 on the year with a 3.12 ERA, 169 strikeouts, 36 walks, and 170 innings. He has 2 starts against the Dodgers this season, totaling a 5.31 ERA, and the Padres have lost both games outright. I really love the Doyer money line today, guys.
Dodgers again. We were all over the Dodgers on the for the Tuesday night game as well. So following it up here on Wednesday, Munaf, Dodgers at Padres.
Yeah, Noah nailed everything that I was going to say as well. Joe Musgrove in his career against the Dodgers, 0-6 with a 4.50 ERA, and like you mentioned, the numbers this season as well. Dodgers just have his number. Julio Urias, 11 of his 17 wins this season have actually come on the road, where he is 11-4 with a 2.07 ERA. NL West opponents 10-2 with a 2.03 ERA. And again, been so dominant against the Padres as well. And he recently faced them on September 3rd and September 10th, back-to-back Saturday starts, where the Dodgers won that game and they covered the run line in both of those games as well. So I'm going Dodgers money line here, and I'll also probably sprinkle on Dodgers run line as well, -1.5 at plus odds there.
The total here was the one that appealed to me. I like the extra half a point that I was getting for the under. I thought this might be a 7 game because for all the reasons that you've already laid out. And traditionally, although the Dodgers have had the Padres number this season, they tend to these two pitchers are just going to keep this low score, and I think it's going to be another pitching duel. I actually expected this line to move, just like the Mets and the Miami game moved out half a point. I was expecting this to contract slightly by half a point, but it hasn't. It's held at 7.5. So I think in a low scoring game, the Dodgers can get this done something like 3-1 or something along those lines. So I'll stick with the under 7.5. Finally, and not much we can give you on this one. This is our only TB picture of the night. 9:40 Eastern first pitch. The Texas Rangers at the Seattle Mariners. Martin Perez, left-handed pitcher for Texas. Seattle are officially TBD, although I reckon it's George Kirby. We've got no lines at all, though, so the bookies can't be confident of Kirby's presence. So, Moon, have you got much on this at all?
No, I mean, without a pitcher listed, I don't even see lines on this. I just refreshed the page just to see if it did. But no, I mean, you said it was George Kirby for the Mariners, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's been pretty good for the Mariners this season. That pitching rotation is going to be something really exciting to watch for the years to come. I'm not sure if you guys already talked about it, but they locked up Luis Castillo for, I think, another 5 years with that Mariners rotation. So, yeah, I mean, not much else for me. I'm just really excited about this Mariners ball club for the future.
Yep. Noah?
Yeah, for me, I'm on the Mariners too. I mean, I really don't know how else you can handicap this one with yeah, I'm going to be on the Mariners.
Fair enough. Okay, so that has got us through the main slate. Now, bottom draw action. I know Noah likes to cast his eye around, so we'll come to you first, Noah. Any other games, any other pitchers, bets, anything stuck out to you from in the murkier depths of this card?
Well, I know where you're gonna go, so I'm not gonna
do you?
That. Yeah, I do. I think I'm fairly confident that I do. So I'm gonna go to the Orioles on the road against the Red Sox. Dean Kramer, one of my guys, going up against Rich Hill, a soft tossing left-hander that they seem to have very good success against. So that's gonna be my play, the Orioles money line there.
Moonaf, anything around you that caught your eye at all?
I know we didn't talk about it, but it's probably the pitching matchup of the night: Zach Gallen versus Justin Verlander. That's going to be a fun pitching duel to watch. I know that total right now is at 6.5. Wouldn't mind an under in that game between those two squads and those two pitchers. Maybe a first 5. I quickly just want to see how Zach Gallen has done if he has ever faced the Astros. Let's see here. No, but he's been solid all season. 6-2 on the road so far this year, 2.42 ERA. Most of his games do end up going under the total as well. Now with Verlander, probably really just being out there to kind of solidify his Cy Young candidacy. I mean, the odds right now for him, I think, are north of -400, but I think this might just be a game where we see runs at a premium, maybe like at least in the first 5 innings. If you get a 3.5, I don't mind that under in that game, under that first 5 innings between these two pitchers.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, there is one game that's caught my eye, but I'm fascinated to know why Noah thinks he's got me pinned here. So Noah, which pitcher's name have I just typed into StatMuse because you think I'm going to pick him here?
Michael Lorenzen.
Oh shit, he's got me as well. He's got me moved off.
You guys have been spending too much time together.
Noah, I think we need to start seeing other people, I'm afraid, mate.
You're
absolutely right. This was a kind of yeah, you're absolutely right. I picked him last week and I can't remember what he did, which leads me to believe it wasn't anything special. He probably cost me a few quid, but the Angels take on the Athletics tomorrow at home. And Lorenzen is one of my guys. I was expecting him to finish the season strong. And he gets the benefit tomorrow of A, the Oakland Athletics, and B, Adrian Martinez, who was given up 5, 4, and 7. In 3 starts ago, in 3 2/3 innings, he gave up 14 hits. That's amazing. That's probably a world record, I reckon. So, yeah, I don't expect Martinez to do anything except get shelled. So, the Angels on the run line looks like a great bet. The last 3 starts, they've lost 9-5, 5-0, and 10-2. So the closest Martinez and the Athletics have got to the opposition has been 4 runs. So yeah, we'll take the Angels. And well spotted, Noah. I'm impressed. So, lock and dog picks to come then in a moment after I tell you about our final sponsors here on the show, the Elias Game Plan app. You definitely will know these people. The Elias Sports Bureau are the official statisticians of all the US pro sports leagues, and you need this in your life for NFL season. Will help you out with your fantasy leagues. It'll help you out if you're having a bet, or even if you just want to improve your all-round football talk with all your friends. This is the app to get your information from. Loads of fun things on the Elias Game Plan app. Head-to-head team comparisons. You've got league-validated team player news and stats. Expert game analysis that's going to help you out, like I say, with DFS season long. All those sort of things. Really will elevate your NFL season today. If you download the Elias Game Plan app, that is ELIAS, and we've got a special offer here, 15% off your annual subscription if you use our promo code SGPN15. Find the Elias Game Plan Sports Betting in the App Store, Play Store, and use our promo code SGPN15. And finally, Fubo TV, where you can watch all the football, college football, pro football, NFL Red Zone, you name it, as well as hundreds of live sports and entertainment channels, much cheaper than cable. No contract, no commitment to cancel at any time too. You can try Fubo TV free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FUBOTV.com/SGP. Lock and dog picks to come. I'm struggling to pick mine here, so I'm going to we'll let Moonoff lead us off here while I frantically try and find my own Moonoff. What have you got? And I'll promise not to copy.
Yeah, for my lock, I'm going to go with the Yankees and Blue Jays over 7.5 with Garrett Cole and Mitch White on the mound. I mean, Garrett Cole has struggled against the Blue Jays this season, and I think that Mitch White has just been what's the term I'm looking for? A gas can, I guess we can say, since he got traded to the Blue Jays from the Dodgers. I think that number is a little conservative. So I think I like that. I love that over 7.5. I think that number is a little conservative here. So that'll be my lock. For my dog, I'm going to go over to that Mets and the Mets and Marlins game that we talked about. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, like two dogs here. I'm going to go with the Dodgers run line. Julio Urias has just been so dominant this season. We talked about his success against the Padres. He's just getting it done. And especially, it's crazy to say a lot of times we prefer pitchers at home. Urias has been a guy that I prefer on the road and against the San Diego Padres, like I mentioned, where he's 3-0. Joe Musgrove, over his career, 0-6 against the Dodgers, 0-2 this season. Noah said the numbers there. So I'm going to go with the run line, -1.5, plus 125 for the Dodgers as my dog.
Okay, Noah.
So for me, I'm going with my lock as the Dodgers. Not really going to repeat everything that Moonoff said. Just the only stat that I love there is they're 16-4 in their last 20 games against the Padres. And then same kind of mentality here is another team that's kind of owned their division rival in the last few games that they've played. The St. Louis Cardinals, 8-4 in their last 12 at Milwaukee. And they've done just as well at home. Quintana, left-hander, going up against a struggling lineup against left-handed pitching, or a struggling lineup that struggles against left-handed pitching. Yeah, I said that right. So give me the Cardinals as my dog, plus 120.
Okay, so my lock, I'm going to stay in that same game, Noah, but I'm going to take the first 5 under. I can't see anything else for a lot of the reasons you've just stipulated than a bit of a shootout here between Quintana and Woodruff, two lineups who haven't really been in great form lately. And like you say, Quintana and the left-handedness thereof, I think can keep this quiet. Certainly earlier on, both, it's going to be cagey as well. This is a cagey series. The Cards will be desperate to just to put a little bit more daylight between themselves and Brewers. They don't need to make this unnecessarily nervy for themselves. If they pick up a couple of wins this week, they can put it to bed. So yeah, I'll take the under 7. And for my dog, I got no dogs in these premium games that were looked at. So I will head to the murky depths. And I'm going to take my guy on the run line, Michael Lorenzen and the LA Angels. The -185 on the money line. So on the run line, maybe plus 120, something like that. So a plus price on the Angels for me with Michael Lorenzen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has got us to the end of the show. So yeah, that was succinct. It was good. I feel confident about the last week of MLB here. Moonaf, what have you got going on? How's the Propcast been treating you?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. NFL Gambling Podcast going along. Propcast has been doing well. If you haven't already subscribed to that, do us a favor, go in and do that. And NBA, we're starting division previews, things like that. So the season is about 3 weeks away. So gearing up for the NBA as well. So busy times as usual.
Yeah, you were trying to hoodwink me into joining the NBA Fantasy League, but I just couldn't. I didn't have it in me even a little bit. I've just got about 20 hours a week back because the baseball league's finished. So I didn't want to reinvest them immediately into joining an NBA league. Noah, what are you up to?
So for me tonight, I'm going to be watching a few MLB games, also UFC. But honestly, I'm going to be drafting up like a little fiery tweet because I feel it in us and also like the media that I consume. A lot of people just say like, I can't wait for the postseason to start. And that's because all of these races are almost over. Why do you guys think that?
Yeah, good question.
We've got 2 playoff races that are going on. We have the NL East and the NL wildcard. AL wildcard's pretty much done. Why that is because there's 2 extra playoff spots this year. So I am going to write an article about it, I think, about my frustration with the expansion of a playoff because it's useless to play 162 games and the last week of the season's dumb. Like all of these games don't mean anything. Nobody's watching. The MLB killed themselves. They think that they helped themselves out by inviting more teams into the playoffs when really your product just suffers throughout 1 month of the year. It's terrible. So, yep, that's my frustration. Gonna air it out. Gonna do some research.
Okay, a little rant from Noah there. Didn't expect that. We need football back, Moonaf. This international break is just bored me to death. Sorry?
This weekend we're back, right?
Yeah, we're back this weekend. But the international, because you just get in, you feel like the season's built up a little bit of momentum. Then all of a sudden they take it away from you for a load of meaningless international friendlies. I mean, I assume you two were absolutely glued today to USA 0, Saudi Arabia 0 in that friendly. Did you watch that?
They have 2 targets on or 2 shots on goal in 180 minutes is what I read.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, shots on goal 2 each.
Yeah.
Full-time Saudi Arabia 0, USA 0. Yeah, that's the problem with international friendlies. The meaningless and horrible. So yeah, I need some football back. Mainly because I got knocked out of all the fun NFL stuff. All the survivor pools, the guillotine league. I'm dead. Noah, what have you won? You're holding a giant trophy.
Yeah, I got some shit from Malcolm saying that I don't really know soccer that well. I played it when I was a kid. I was a good goalie. I was a very good goalie.
Okay.
So, Region 190 Tournament Champions 2012-2013.
Oh, mate, look at that. I tell you, you Americans love a big trophy. That's a source of great amusement to me.
Baseball ones back there, too.
Yeah.
We love giving out participation trophies.
Oh, there are no participation trophies up there.
Did you ever get one of them for swimming, Moonaf?
No, I was actually a world-class swimmer.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah. No joke.
Like a stone, I reckon. Swim. Right then, race to the bottom. You'd have won that, Moonaf, no problem. Okay. Thanks, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Usual place to catch up with all Moonaf's work. He's hardest working man in sports entertainment. We'll be back at some point tomorrow to preview the rest of this week, and then we'll be getting stuck right into the playoffs right around the corner. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Good luck with your bets. Until tomorrow, we will see you down the road. Cheers.